Christy Knowings, the actress and comedian best known for making audiences laugh on Nickelodeon's beloved sketch comedy series All That, has died at just 46 years old. And the circumstances surrounding her sudden passing have left former castmates, longtime fans, and an entire generation of Nickelodeon viewers stunned. Knowings died on August 11, 2026, after suffering an asthma attack several days earlier that reportedly caused severe brain damage. She had been hospitalized in the Los Angeles area since August 7th and was placed on life support before her family ultimately made the heartbreaking decision to withdraw that support on August 11th. Her aunt confirmed the death in a Facebook announcement, according to multiple entertainment outlets reporting the news. The news is especially painful because Christy Knowings was only 46. Born on February 25, 1980 in the Bronx, New York, Knowings became part of the All That family during one of the show's most memorable eras, joining the Nickelodeon sketch comedy series in 1997 and remaining associated with the program through its sixth season in 2000. Records of her work list more than 30 episodes, with IMDb crediting her in 32 episodes of All That. For millions of viewers who grew up watching Nickelodeon in the late 1990s and early 2000s, Christy wasn't simply another cast member. She was one of those performers whose face could instantly transport people back to Saturday nights, childhood bedrooms, school vacations, and the era when All That was essentially Nickelodeon's answer to a kid-friendly version of Saturday Night Live. The series originally premiered in 1994 and became a launching pad for performers including Kenan Thompson, Kel Mitchell, Amanda Bynes, and Nick Cannon. Knowings arrived right in the middle of that powerhouse period, joining a cast that included Thompson, Mitchell, Bynes, Josh Server, Danny Tamberelli, Leon Frierson, and Lori Beth Denberg. And what makes her story even more remarkable is how she reportedly landed the All That opportunity in the first place. Christy and her twin brother, actor Chris Knowings, had been involved in a Nickelodeon sketch comedy special called And Now This. While the two were in a backstage green room, Christy was apparently unaware that casting directors for All That were nearby. Her brother encouraged her to show off some of her impressions and accents. The casting directors took notice, and she was eventually asked to audition. She got the job, and a new chapter of her career began. Once she joined All That, Knowings demonstrated just how versatile she could be. She wasn't limited to one character or one type of comedy. She played a wide range of personalities, including Brenda Stone from Channel 6.5 News, Winter Wonders from the parody game show sketch What Do You Do?, Penny Lane in The Adventures of Super Dude, Yoko from CJ and the Cloudy Nights, and perhaps most memorably, Jessica in the famous Whatever-er sketches with Amanda Bynes. That Whatever-er sketch is one of the pieces of All That nostalgia that longtime viewers still remember instantly. Knowings and Bynes played exaggerated teenage characters whose conversations spiraled into increasingly ridiculous exchanges, with the exaggerated whatever attitude becoming part of the comedy. It was silly, energetic, unmistakably 1990s Nickelodeon, and it gave Knowings a chance to show the comedic timing that made her stand out. Another character especially close to Knowings was Gloria Bankhead, an over-the-top parody of Martha Stewart. Reports describing her favorite All That character have highlighted Gloria as an example of the kind of larger-than-life comedy Knowings loved performing. She could completely transform herself from one sketch to the next, and that ability was a major part of what made her memorable even in a cast filled with strong personalities. But there was another side to Christy Knowings' All That legacy that deserves attention. She spoke about the importance of diversity on the show and the fact that her background could be part of what viewers saw on television. Knowings was described in recent reporting as Afro-Latina and Native American, and she viewed All That as a place where cultural differences could be celebrated rather than hidden. That mattered, especially during an era when children's television was beginning to expose young audiences to a much wider range of personalities and backgrounds. Her career didn't end with All That. Knowings also appeared on Figure It Out, another Nickelodeon favorite, and later appeared on Sesame Street alongside her twin brother, Chris. Her Sesame Street appearances came between 2008 and 2011, and IMDb lists her in 3 episodes. She also appeared in the 2009 film Mother and Child, a drama featuring an impressive ensemble that included Annette Bening, Naomi Watts, Kerry Washington, Samuel L. Jackson, and Jimmy Smits. Knowings' filmography also included an appearance on New York Undercover. And Christy continued exploring her creativity beyond acting. In 2020, she released the song To the World, a folk-inspired musical project that demonstrated another side of an entertainer many people knew primarily from Nickelodeon. Her professional biography also described her as an actress, comedian, vocalist, musician, dancer, writer, director, and producer, showing that her creative ambitions extended far beyond the sketches that made her famous. In fact, recent reporting says Knowings had remained connected to the entertainment world even though she was no longer constantly in the spotlight. She wasn't someone who lived her entire adult life chasing celebrity headlines. She appeared only occasionally on social media, continued pursuing creative work, and was reportedly featured on the cover of Black Beat magazine for its June and July 2026 issue, just weeks before her death. That detail makes the timing of her death feel even more shocking. As recently as this summer, Christy Knowings was still being recognized for the career she had built, and now fans are suddenly looking back through decades of old performances and remembering the woman behind the characters. Then came August 7. According to the reports now circulating, Knowings suffered an asthma attack that became catastrophic. She was hospitalized in the Los Angeles area, and the attack reportedly resulted in brain damage. After several days in the hospital and on life support, her family faced an agonizing decision. On August 11, they chose to withdraw life support, and Knowings died at the age of 46. The speed of what happened is one of the most heartbreaking parts of this story. One moment, there was a performer who had spent decades entertaining people, and within days, her family was confronting an unimaginable loss. The reports currently available do not indicate that she had been publicly dealing with a prolonged terminal illness. Instead, the tragedy appears to have unfolded suddenly following the asthma attack. And as word of her death spread, one of the people who knew her during those formative years of All That spoke publicly about just how hard the loss hit. Kenan Thompson, who worked alongside Knowings during the late 1990s and remains one of the show's most successful alumni, shared an emotional tribute. Thompson described Knowings as one of the funniest people out here and expressed his love for her family. In another description of his reaction, he made it clear that this loss had hit him particularly hard. Think about the weight of that statement. Kenan Thompson has gone on to become a major television star, spending decades on Saturday Night Live and building a career far beyond the Nickelodeon stage. Yet, when he remembered Christy Knowings, what immediately came through was not her resume, not her credits, and not the passage of time. It was her humor, her ability to make people laugh, the personality that made her stand out when they were all young performers trying to find their place. Josh Server, another longtime All That cast member, has also been among those remembering Knowings, adding to the wave of grief from people who shared those formative years with her. And that grief isn't limited to the people who actually knew her. Across social media and online fan communities, longtime All That viewers have been reacting with disbelief and sadness. Fans have been remembering the whatever-er sketches, Gloria Bankhead, Winter Wonders, and the many other characters Knowings brought to life. Some viewers have expressed shock simply because they had never realized how young she still was. Others have talked about discovering that an asthma attack could have such devastating consequences. For a generation that grew up with Nickelodeon, these deaths can feel strangely personal. The performers on All That were often the same age or close to the age of the children watching them. Viewers didn't necessarily think of them as distant celebrities. They felt like familiar faces who were part of childhood. And now, decades later, those same viewers are adults themselves, looking at the cast and realizing that time has passed for everyone. There is another painful layer to this story, because Christy Knowings is not the only All That alum the Nickelodeon community has lost recently. Earlier in 2026, Kiana Underwood, who appeared during the later era of All That, died at 33 after being killed in a hit-and-run incident in Brooklyn. Her death was already a devastating blow to fans of the franchise. Now, only months later, another member of the All That family has died, this time at 46. For fans who watched the show during its original run, it is an unsettling reminder of how quickly the passage of time can turn childhood nostalgia into something much more emotional. All That itself was more than just another Nickelodeon program. It ran for years, changed casts repeatedly, and helped create an entire generation of comedy stars. Kenan Thompson and Kel Mitchell eventually became the stars of Kenan and Kel. Amanda Bynes became one of the most recognizable young actresses of her generation. Nick Cannon went on to build a huge career in television, radio, comedy, music, and entertainment. The show became a training ground for performers who would go on to define parts of late 1990s and early 2000s pop culture. Christy Knowings was an important part of that history. Her time on the series covered seasons 4 through 6, and those seasons included some of the show's most recognizable faces and sketches. She shared the screen with Amanda Bynes, Kenan Thompson, Kel Mitchell, Josh Server, Danny Tamberelli, Leon Frierson, and others during an era when All That was one of Nickelodeon's signature programs. She also experienced the strange phenomenon that comes with being part of a beloved childhood show. A performer can leave the spotlight while their work never really disappears. For fans, Christy Knowings remained frozen in those old sketches. She was Jessica. She was Gloria Bankhead. She was Winter Wonders. She was Penny Lane. She was the energetic performer who could walk into a sketch and immediately make the scene feel bigger. And that may ultimately be one of the most meaningful things about her legacy. Christy Knowings didn't need decades of blockbuster movies to matter. She didn't need hundreds of television credits. Her impact came from a much more intimate place. She was part of the childhood memories of people who may never have known her personally, but still felt like they knew her because they saw her week after week on television. Her comedy became part of their childhood soundtrack. Her characters became part of their vocabulary. Her performances became memories. And now, those memories are being revisited under heartbreaking circumstances. There is also something especially tragic about the fact that Christy Knowings was only 46. She had been born in the Bronx on February 25, 1980, meaning she had only celebrated her 46th birthday earlier this year. She was still young enough to have decades of life ahead of her, which is why the sudden nature of this loss has left so many people struggling to process it. At this point, the most widely reported explanation for her death is complications from the August 7th asthma attack, including brain damage that led to her being placed on life support. Her family ultimately withdrew life support 4 days later on August 11th. Those are the facts currently being reported by multiple entertainment publications, while her aunt's announcement provided confirmation of her passing. And because the story is so recent, fans should be cautious about unverified claims spreading online. Social media can quickly turn a tragic celebrity death into a flood of rumors, speculation, and misinformation. The clearest information available right now comes from reports citing her family and from tributes by people who actually knew and worked with her. What we do know is that Christy Knowings made people laugh. We know she worked alongside some of the biggest names to emerge from Nickelodeon's golden era. We know she continued exploring acting, comedy, music, and other creative pursuits after All That. We know she remained proud of her background and the diversity represented on the show. We know she had recently continued to be recognized publicly for her work. And we know that on August 11, 2026, the world lost her at just 46. For those who grew up watching All That, this is more than another celebrity headline. It is one of those moments when a piece of childhood suddenly feels very far away. Christy Knowings spent her youth making other people laugh, and decades later, those performances are still available to be remembered. Her sketches can still make people smile. Her characters can still make longtime fans laugh. And perhaps that is the greatest tribute a comedian can receive. Long after the cameras stop rolling, people still remember how you made them feel. So tonight, as fans look back at the old All That episodes and remember Christy Knowings, the focus should not only be on the heartbreaking way her life ended, it should also be on the life she lived, the creativity she shared, the characters she created, and the countless people who grew up laughing because she was on their television screens. She was 46 years old. She was a daughter, a sister, a twin, a performer, a comedian, a musician, and a beloved part of Nickelodeon history. And for an entire generation, she will always be one of the faces of All That. Rest in peace, Christy Knowings. Thank you for the laughs, the characters, the memories, and the moments that became part of so many people's childhoods. Make sure to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more celebrity updates just like this.